Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the REDX podcast. So glad that you're here. My name is Haley Johnson. I'm going to be your host today. We have Jackie Kravitz with us today. Welcome back, Jackie.
Hey, how are you? Great to be back. Thank you
Yes.
for the invite.
I was actually just looking. You were on the podcast this week a year ago. So it's
No way, the same
exactly.
week. What are the odds? Wow.
I
Okay.
know, it's perfect.
That sounds
So if people have watched that podcast, then you know Jackie, or if you're in her coaching or anything. But Jackie, for those that don't know who you are, could you just give us a little brief introduction?
Sure. I've been in real estate for 26 years. I can't believe I'm saying that. For the past 16 years, I think, 15, 16 years, I've been coaching. I sold a lot of real estate in the first many years of my career. And then I was a coach for some large companies out there. And now I have my own coaching company. When I was selling real estate, though, and I guess maybe that's what it's a little unique about me, I'm a crazy person about expireds and for sale by owners, because that's really all I did. And when I got into real estate, I had no experience of any sales, anything, right? So it was just clean slate. And I started making a lot of calls, and I realized very quickly that if I want to take listings, why not focus on talking to the people who want to sell? And those are FSBOs and expired. So my fourth year, I closed 100 transactions, and they were all FSBOs and expireds. And then 105, 30. So fun. You know, it's fun when you're talking to people that you have, like you actually can set an appointment versus... my first couple of years, I made a lot of neighborhood calls, just calling around.
Yeah.
And that's fine. I learned a ton from that. And I took listings. My first few listings were all from calling neighborhoods. But I had to talk to hundreds of people to find one, So it's like, why? Excuse me. I just
Bless you.
I haven't sneezed in like months. So thank you. So I realized very quickly, these neighborhood calls are great, but FSBOs are better. They're all selling expired listings. They all want to sell. So that became my thing.
I love it. Yeah, I want to, that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about expired listings specifically. In the podcast we did with Jackie a year ago, we talked about for sale by owners. So we'll definitely link that one below for anyone that's interested in that as well. But before we just get started into all of the meat and potatoes, for everyone that is watching, this is a participatory event. So if you have any questions for Jackie throughout our discussion today, make sure to chat them in, and I will make sure to get those over to Jackie. We're going to be talking about some scripts and objections for expired specifically. So if you have objections that you're getting on the phone right now that we aren't covering or anything, be sure to chat those in, and we will get those role played for you. So it sounds like you started with like circle prospecting, calling neighborhoods, and realized where the gold is, where you can actually do business really quickly, is with expireds and FSBOs. Because I think a lot of agents get into the business and they need listings right away, right? Because they either just quit their full-time job, or they're trying to make real estate a full-time job, or things like that. And so they're like, okay, I need now business. And we usually say like circle prospecting is definitely more for the long game. That's something where you're building your database and you're putting people into your CRM and you're building your mailing lists and all those things. But that's not going to necessarily give you a lot of business in the next 90 days, for example.
Yeah.
So, and my first question was why people should call expired specifically. And you kind of answered that just because they're ready to sell right now. But is there anything you would add to agents who are maybe skeptical?
Yeah. So not only do they want to sell, Haley, I love FSBOs and expireds both. It's like, oh, which one is better? It's like asking me to pick my favorite child. I mean, I can't do that, right? That's so funny as I say that. Last night I was with my two granddaughters. I have a 5.5 and a 2.5. And the older one is saying, who's your favorite? She actually asked me that. I said, who's your favorite granddaughter? I said, I can't. She said, but I'm the firstborn. I said, yeah, okay. Anyway, I can't pick a favorite because they're both amazing, but I can honestly say that expireds are better. And the reason why they're better than FSBOs is because they're just easier to list. Listing a for sale by owner is not as easy. Expireds are easier. What's harder about the expired is setting the appointment. Because when you call brand new expired, like, so here's like, just to show the difference, right? Expireds are more immediate business than FSBOs, because FSBOs can be, but you're going to have, again, they could watch the other podcast that you're going to link or whatever on FSBOs. I mean, they can be, but the listing presentation to a for sale by owner is very, very specific, unique, because they want to save the commission. They don't think that there's value in using an agent. So that has to be presented to them in a very powerful way for them to see, like, oh, okay, well, it makes sense for me to pay you. Oh, yeah, you expired. You don't have to worry about that. A brand new expired listing, if you can just build rapport, not have them hang up on you, because new expireds in most areas are getting a lot of calls from real estate agents. Right. So I always say your goal needs to be, and the more agents they talk to before you call, the crazier they're going to be. I mean, they're just getting aggravated, more and more and more. Like, I live in Miami. Miami is probably still is, but a few years ago was the largest board of realtors in the United States. Like, there's more agents in Miami than anywhere else. I mean, you could just imagine, you literally call an expired and it's 8:15 and they said, I've gotten 100 calls from agents since 7 a.m. this morning. I'm like, you know what? And if they answer the phone, you're lucky if they answer the phone, because some of them will stop answering. Yeah. So you need to call them as early as possible. And 7 a.m. is a definite no-no, because legally 8 a.m. is the earliest local time that you can call. And you should be on the phone calling at 8 a.m. But if you can get past that frustration they have for the fact that the house didn't sell, that they're being bombarded with real estate agents, and we're going to do a role play, Haley, I know. If you use my script, because it is the best one, because it's, you're speaking their language. You're saying what they want to hear versus a lot of scripts out there that has, 10 or 15 questions that this expired has zero interest in answering to an agent that they don't want to talk to. It's like, anyway, if you can set that appointment, listing them is easy. So easier than FSBOs, it's immediate business. Most of the expireds that I listed. So my business, I got a license in 1996. Huh. Like, what is happening?
That's actually the year I was born.
Oh my gosh. Like, you're making me feel, thank you for making me feel worse. Funny, my daughter was born in 95. And I have a son 8 years older than my daughter. So when I got into real estate, she was she wasn't even a year old yet. And my son was 8. And I was a stay-at-home mom. Before she was born, I worked in a hotel. But when she was born, I was just basically staying at home, cooking, cleaning, taking care of the house. Here I get a real estate license. And I don't have time with the house, the 2 kids, whatever. I started making calls nights and weekends. My first 2 years, I was working part-time nights and weekends, because I talked to a lot of, moms especially, or even could be a father that has small children or they have a full-time job and they're working real estate part-time. Been there, done that. It can be done.
Right.
Yeah. You know what? Is it harder? I see so many agents that have their entire day dedicated to real estate and they're so inefficient. So you know what? It's what you do with the time you have. But anyway, my 4th year, I sold 100 homes. Now we're in the early 2000s. And you were a baby, so you don't know, but in the early 2000s, 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, it was a crazy hot market.
Yeah.
Prices were going up, very low inventory, kind of like what we had in 2000, 2021, and so it was a market like that. And so in that market, I had way more for sale by owners than expired listings, because it was a hot market, low inventory.
Right.
Properties were not that many. There were some expireds, but not a lot. And everybody thought, oh my gosh, the market is so hot, I could sell it myself. And a lot of people were, So I sold. I was taking about 150 listings a year. 100 were FSBOs, 50 were expireds. So. Wow. And it was, the only reason is because there were more.
Yeah.
But we're gonna talk about the script in a second, Haley. But the beauty of mastering both, because so many agents like, oh, okay, I love FSBOs, or most of them don't, I call expireds, but I don't call FSBOs. You pick one or the other. When you master both, it doesn't matter if it's a buyer's market, a seller's market, a neutral market, because in a seller's market, you have more FSBOs than expireds. In a buyer's market, it's the opposite, more expireds than FSBOs. In a neutral market, you have a balance of both. And it doesn't matter where you go in the country, where you want to live, they're there. So you're never at the mercy of, well, the market changed. So what? You when you have the skills, and plus to develop the skills to list expireds and FSBOs, they're not necessarily easy. So when you master that, everything else, everybody else you talk to, every objection you get, it's like easy in comparison. So you're just like, got this.
That's true.
This is why I love both, but expireds are definitely faster, easier if you can just get past the phone call and set the appointment. So.
Yeah, and I think maybe a lot of people that are listening right now are thinking, or if they don't already call expired listings, that they're afraid of that phone call because these are angry homeowners, right? Circle prospecting is a lot easier in the sense that you're talking to your neighbors, you're talking to people, and you're not trying to sell a home that hasn't sold, right? So maybe talk to that a little bit, of those agents that maybe are afraid of that.
Yeah, I can totally understand why agents would be nervous to speak with an expired, especially when I'm saying, they're frustrated, they're angry. Yeah. Now, first of all, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, yeah, I'm afraid of that, wouldn't you be angry and frustrated and annoyed and maybe even a little hostile if you had listed your house with an agent 6 months ago with the intention of selling it and it didn't sell, and today when it's not for sale anymore, you're getting bombarded by calls from real estate agents saying they can sell it? Wouldn't you be annoyed? This helps me a lot, actually, just putting myself in their situation, understanding really where they're coming from, because then, I can relate. I'm like, when they sound angry, I can say, Haley, I completely understand why you're frustrated with this. I mean, I couldn't even imagine being in your situation. And I have no idea why all these agents are calling you. I'm calling you because I am confident, Haley, that I can sell your house. And I'd like to meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you exactly how I can do that for you. So I can say that, would 3 o'clock work today or 4 be better? You always close. But I can say that with like conviction, confidence, because I would be feeling exactly the same way, Right. So, and they could say, well, if you are so confident you can sell it, how come you didn't sell it? They could say that. Right. Yeah. And I'd say, Haley, that is a great question. And quite honestly, I'm not going to insult your intelligence and tell you that I have a buyer for your house right now. The reason I didn't sell it is nothing against your home personally. I didn't know your house was for sale. I mean, there are thousands of homes in the multiple listing service. It's not that I was ignoring your home. It was just, I wasn't even aware that your house was for sale. Your agent didn't let me know. But here's the point, Haley. it sounds to me like you want to sell your house. And I know exactly how to find the buyer for your property, which I would imagine that's what you would expect an agent to do for you, isn't it?
Right. Yep.
Will be a good time for me to come by for just 20 minutes, and I'll show you exactly how I'm going to find that buyer for you at 3 o'clock or today or better. I'm saying it quickly, but just to,
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about when you can relate to what they're going through, really. I mean, who would be happy with that?
Right.
And they're thinking also, all agents are the same, because people think, okay, now my agent was no good, the house didn't sell. Everybody's the same. So what makes you different? That's another common objection, right? We can role play.
Yeah.
I want to say also this. I told you that in my first 2 years, I made a lot of just listed, just sold, circle prospecting, neighborhood calls, which I did. But also right away from the very beginning, I was calling expireds and FSBOs. Yeah. I just didn't know what I learned over time, how to handle them, but I was calling.
Right.
And I was terrified of expired. I was calling them. I would call them every day, but I had no idea what to do with them. My experience with expireds is they were crazy. I mean, they're like, they scream and yell, and they're like, what? And I'm like, I didn't know what to do with them, because I mean, so what, the agents that are nervous about making the calls, been there, done that. I know. But as you start to understand how to communicate with them, and you learn the skills to build rapport, then it becomes easier. It's not that they're going to be different. You're just going to be better. So these conversations are going
like
to, plus you develop some thick skin too. I mean, if you're going to get hung up on everybody that hangs up on you, or so, then, go get a job doing something else. Because this is just, no matter how great you are. And recently, like a month or two ago, I actually picked up the phone to call expired listings. Some of the live calls are on my YouTube channel, and I hadn't done it in like 3 years. Once in a while, just I do it. And the reality is, I'm really good at it. I know I am, and I'm confident. But most of them hung up on me, no matter how good I am. And then, I talk to 10, 9 hang up, and no matter what I do, and then 1, I set an appointment. So that's okay. I'm fine with that. But when you're brand new, it's going to take more hang-ups, more, and you're learning. That's just the way it is. So you can't just, I'm afraid of, because they're rude, whatever. So what? You're not going to call? How are you ever going to? Somebody's listing these expireds.
Yeah.
Somebody is. So
let it be you.
Right. If you're just going to be afraid of calling and not make the calls, well, then okay, I guess your competitor can go list it. The way it is. Yeah, everything is a process. There's nothing that we become really good at without doing it a lot. I agree. Again, it didn't take 26 years for me to, my 3rd year, I was already feeling, but I worked hard at it. I was working part-time in real estate, but I put in the time. When my kids were taking a nap at night, I'm practicing. I'm thinking, I'm looking for ways. I hired a coach. I wanted like everything I could do to learn and improve and get better. I did. And by my 3rd year, I was feeling already like, I think I got this. I'm feeling so much more confident. And every day you are a little bit confident, and it compounds, and all of a sudden you get better results. Okay, that's it. I'll shut up now.
Oh, I like that. I mean, because you kind of set expectations, because if you buy expired leads, or however you're getting your expireds, and you pick up the phone, the first one that you talk to, odds are they're not going to want to list with you. And they might hang up, or they might, not even answer. Right. So that expectation is important because, like you said, I mean, year 3, you said that's when you were starting to feel confident. That
Yeah.
takes some time. Like
Yeah.
this isn't something that you can just wake up the next morning and you're going to nail it with expireds.
Yep.
So I like that you set some expectations. We do have a few comments that are coming in that I want to address and talk
Okay.
about. So a couple of things. Some people are saying that Lauren says expireds in Delaware are being called by everyone.
Yep.
So we can talk about that. Also, Neil said, why do expired listing owners give up selling and not want to sell? So let's kind of talk about those. And then I want to get into role play as well.
Okay. Sounds good. So everybody's calling expireds in Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what does that mean? And here, you know why everybody's calling? Because they know how hot these prospects are.
Right.
That's why they're calling. Because when you call around the neighborhood, how many agents are calling the same neighborhood you're calling? Nobody. It's like, okay, so it's just a matter of the best one is going to set the appointment and take that listing. So get on the road to mastering this stuff so you could have control of your business. Because if you have expireds every single day, which means you have an opportunity to actually set an appointment, take a listing every day. You just got to become good enough to do it. You're in real estate, so why not?
Right. Yeah, I agree.
And I'm sorry, what was Neil's question? I remember the name.
He was saying, why do expired listing owners give up selling and not want to sell?
Okay. Well, I mean, why? Some different life situations, right? I believe that a good 75% of expired listings, they relist and they still want to sell. There's a smaller percentage that for whatever reason, they just change of plans. They decide not to sell. Now, the tricky part about this is I'm not selling anymore is probably one of the most common objections. They still want to sell, but they're just so fed up. The phone's ringing off the hook. So I'm not selling anymore. Click. Like the easiest way to get rid of a real estate agent is just say, I'm not selling anymore. Oh, okay, then I'll have a nice day. But is it a condition, meaning they really don't want to sell, or they're just frustrated right now and they don't want to hear it? And most of them is an objection, which is they still want to sell. They're just, they're just fed up right now.
Yeah, makes sense. So I want to now get into some role playing. We have a few people that are like, you have the best script. Okay, I got to hear this. So let's just start. Should we just start with the role play?
Yep, let's do it.
All righty, let's do it.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Hello, is this Haley?
This is she.
Haley, this is Jackie. I'm a local real estate agent. I'm sure you know your house came off the market today, and I'm calling you because I am confident that I can sell your house. And I'd like to meet with you for just 20 minutes and show you exactly how I can do that for you. Would 3 o'clock work for you today, or would 4 be better?
Jackie, you are the 10th agent to call me this morning.
Yes. I understand, Haley. I would imagine that you're probably a little bit frustrated with hearing from all these agents. And I don't know why they've been calling you. I am calling you because I am confident that I can sell this property for you. And it would only take 20 minutes for me to show you what I do differently to get houses sold in today's market. Would you have 20 minutes for a meeting around 3 o'clock today, or would 4 be better for you?
Jackie, I'm sure that you're a great agent, but I mean, I had a great agent before. So what would make you better than the last?
And by the way, Haley, I have no doubt that you had a great agent. I don't know he or she personally, but you sound like a smart lady. I don't think you would have just hired anybody. And the difference, Haley, this is a great question you're asking. And again, it's one of the reasons why I'd like to come by and meet with you for 20 minutes so I can show you exactly what separates me from 99% of the agents out there. In a nutshell, Haley, I'm an active and aggressive agent where most agents, they put the house in the multiple listing service, and they just hope and pray that somehow the house will sell itself. And obviously that doesn't work. You and I both know there's a buyer for your house out there, and my job is to go find them. That's what you would expect an agent to do for you, isn't it?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah. So when would you have 20 minutes for me to come by and show you exactly how I'm going to do that? I do have an opening around 3:00 today, or would 4 be better for you?
Yeah, I just don't know if I think we might wait to actually put it back on the market. I mean,
Okay.
we've been waiting 6 months, and maybe it's just not the right time in the market.
Yeah, I totally understand, Haley. I mean, if I was in your situation, after being on the market for 6 months, I'd be second guessing too. Is it even a good time to sell? And so here's what I'm thinking, Haley. Let me ask you this question. If you were, and I know right now you might not be able to confidently answer this, but I want you to think hypothetically speaking, if you were absolutely confident that your house would sell, would you consider putting it back on the market now?
I mean, if I was confident and it was without all of the headaches that I had to go through, then yeah, I would.
Okay, great. I mean, so this is exactly why I want to come by and meet with you, Haley. You're under no obligation, because I understand how you're thinking that maybe it would be a good idea to wait. I want to come by and show you exactly what I do differently. And I am confident that when we meet, you'll clearly see why we should be working together. And our meeting is only going to take 20 minutes. You're under no obligation. At the end of our meeting, you decide what's best for yourself. So would 3:00 work for you today? Would 4 be better?
3:00 would work.
Okay, great. See you at 3.
Wow, that was great. I loved that. I think, I mean, we can dive into that a little bit more. So, and someone asked while we were role playing, Lori asked, do you need to establish rapport first or ask for the appointment? Because you went pretty quick in there to just being like, hey, let's meet, right? Get off the phone. Let's meet in person. What do you think?
Building rapport. So I don't know exactly what Lori has in mind about how you build rapport.
Yeah.
So I want you to think about who you're speaking with. How you build rapport with a brand new expired is you mimic and match, you mirror their emotion, the rate of speech, the volume. That's all you have to go by. You cannot, some people think that if you keep them on the phone and you ask about what's going on, you're building rapport. No, you're just getting them aggravated because they're not interested. You already talked to 10 agents. I mean, what, you're going to sit and just,
yeah, they just want you off the phone.
Yeah, they're going to hang up on you way faster. And the reason why the script is direct is because an expired that wants to sell, that's all they want. They want an agent that makes them feel confident that, somehow it's not just what you say, because my script is the best. I'm a very humble person and I don't know anything. Okay. But when it comes to expireds and FSBOs, that's the only thing that I actually have confidence that I know what I'm talking about. That's what they're looking for. They're not interested in answering any of your questions and questionnaire and where they're moving and why they thought the home didn't sell. They're like, dude, you're the real estate agent. You tell me. So what they're looking for is a feeling of, is this agent different? Does this person stand out to me? Do they make me feel like this is worth 20 minutes of my time? And the way I handle this call, it makes them feel like, you know what? Maybe there's something here that's different than everybody else that I should hear about. And that's exactly what needs to happen for you to set an appointment.
Yeah. And I think I really felt that confidence because you were like, I am confident that we can do this, or that I can sell your home and I am different than the rest that you've been working with. So I liked that, because if you are going to choose an agent, you want someone that is very confident. If you call, if someone's on the phone and they're like, yeah, like, I think I can sell your house, then it's like, okay, well, yeah, so can every other agent. So thanks. Exactly. Yep. Lori had a follow-up question. She says, do you ask why they're moving or where?
No. Did you hear me ask that? No. That's a pre-qualifying question. And you don't pre-qualify an appointment until you set it. Does that make sense? You pre-qualify appointments, not if you don't have an appointment, you have nothing to pre-qualify. So where they're moving, when they want to get where they're going, and why, and the motivation, the money situation, how much they owe, how much they want to sell it for, is everybody going to be, those are all pre-qualifying questions. And you have no business asking them until after you set the appointment. And also, here's a reason why. Remember who you're talking to. They're frustrated. They're being bombarded with phone calls. They're not interested in talking to agents. They're thinking, I'm just like you, most of them, I'm going to take it off the market and give it some time and see what happens. Why would they tell you where they're moving to? It's like, you ask that question. A lot of them will say, well, that's enough of your business. The house didn't sell, so I'm not moving anymore. Click.
Right.
They're not going to sit on the phone and tell you what they're doing with their life. They have no idea who you are and have zero interest in talking to you. So you're asking a question that it's to them, it's like, I have no idea who you are. Like, what do you want from me? I don't have time for this. So, the confidence which is part of the script, it's what they're looking for. They want to sell. They want somebody that makes them feel like, well, maybe I have a shot with you. So yeah. And when I say just 20 minutes, it's easy for them to say yes to that, because most real estate agents go in for 2 hours and put them to sleep. So I specifically say just 20 minutes. And sometimes people say, but can you really do a presentation in 20 minutes? That's irrelevant. That's you in your head thinking, I've never had somebody like time me. No, you show up and you're incredible and they're excited about meeting with you. They're not timing you. But, sometimes if they say to me, well, I only have 20 minutes, I say, Haley, no problem. On my end, 20 minutes is all I need now. Obviously, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to make sure I stay longer and answer them for you. But all I need is 20 minutes, and I'll be able to show you exactly how I'm going to get your property sold. So that's it.
I love that, because all of the other questions that you could ask are just unnecessary to the conversation. Like, they don't absolutely have to happen. What has to happen is they need to know that you're on their level, that you understand that they're frustrated, and that you can solve their problems. They don't care who you are. They don't care anything about, they're upset at real estate agents. And so all they care about is what's in it for them. So if you focus your questions and what you're saying on the expired listing, then they're going to be like, oh, wow, okay, then this agent can actually help me.
Yeah. Here's the other part of this, Haley. Since they don't know who you are, they don't want to talk to agents. They're frustrated. If you ask where you're moving to and they answer, they're likely to lie about it. They're likely to say, well, I'm not in a hurry. It doesn't matter. It's all right. I'm just going to stay here. And you don't have an appointment yet. You don't even in rapport with them yet. Now you ask that, their response is going to trigger something in your mind saying, they're not that motivated. This is a waste of my time. So it's just distracting you from setting the appointment, because now you're believing them, and you're just telling yourself there's no potential for a listing here. And maybe they say, let's say this happened to me so much my first couple of years in real estate. They say, yeah, I'm going to just leave it off the market for now. You could call me in a month. Okay. I believe him. Okay. So I make my little note, my lead follow-up, whatever. I call him back in a month, and they said, no, I already listed with somebody else. I'm like, my first couple, I'm like, what just happened? I mean, and this happened over and over and over with FSBOs and expireds. And I start to realize they're lying to me. Not because they're liars, they just don't know me. They don't want to listen to an agent. They don't want to talk to an agent. They're frustrated. They're being bombarded with calls. So why am I asking all these dumb questions? Because I use those scripts too. Yeah. So I have to change my approach, because I'm like, obviously what I'm doing is not working.
Right. So Lori asked again, once you get the appointment, is that when you would ask more pre-qualifying questions like that, or would you save that for the appointment?
Yeah, no. You pre-qualify on the same call. So I just set an appointment with you.
Mm,
Haley, I look forward to seeing you today at 4 o'clock so I can be better prepared for our meeting. Tell me, when we sell your house, where would you be moving to? I'm already pre-qualifying.
mm. Yeah, I'll just keep going. I want to move to Washington.
Okay, great. And so, Haley, in an ideal real estate, so now we're pre-qualifying, right? You want to role play the pre-qual?
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do it.
So, in an ideal real estate world, Haley, I'm sorry, what did you say? Washington State?
Washington.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, when would you like to be in Washington?
Um, well, my house hasn't sold for 6 months. I wanted to be there like 5 or 4 months ago.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, I would imagine what I hear you saying is the sooner the better at this point.
Yes.
Yeah, completely understand. And what's taking you to Washington State, Haley?
My family lives out there, so I want to move closer to them.
Oh, wonderful. Very, very nice. So I'm assuming that if we can get your property under contract within the next 2 weeks to 4 weeks and have it closed in the next 60 days or so, that would work for you, correct?
Yes, I need that to happen.
Perfect. And Haley, I know because you told me that you've gotten a lot of calls from real estate agents. Have you met with any other agents, or are you planning on actually meeting with any other agents before you choose someone, or you just feel good about our conversation and you want to see what I have to say and move forward?
Well, we did use a family friend for the previous when my home didn't get sold. So I'd probably have another conversation with them. But
Okay, I understand. So, Haley, were you aware that your property was coming off the market today? Did they tell you about that?
I didn't. I
Mhm.
mean, generally, I kind of knew that it was going to because it wasn't selling, but
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't know specifically today.
Yeah. So in this process, because you're saying, you want to speak with them, it's a family friend. So of course, I guess you want to just leave it in good terms. And at the same time, Haley, I imagine that at this point, since I'm sure they did the very best they could, but bottom line is the property didn't sell. I imagine that at this point, you're looking to do something different, because obviously the same agent doing the same thing would produce the same results, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. And so tell me, Haley, what specifically are you looking for in the agent that you'll hire?
Other than getting my house sold, I would love better communication. You asking that question, like the fact that I didn't know that my house was
Mhm.
coming off the market. I don't think that I heard from our realtor very often.
Yeah.
I also don't think she really presented a plan of how she was going to market the home. So
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
expect more of a thought out plan
Yes.
of what's going to happen.
Mhm.
Just so I'm aware, so that I know that work is actually being done to try to sell my house.
Absolutely. Yes.
So
Yeah. Yeah, sounds great. And Haley, I completely understand. So I'm going to make sure that you feel very confident with the process when we meet. And I can assure you that when it comes to communication, I will be speaking with you at least once a week, and hopefully not for that long before we get your property under contract, so we can get you to Washington State close to your family. Okay.
thank you.
Yeah. Excellent. So Haley, is there in this process of selling the home, is there anyone else involved, another owner or decision maker that will need to be present for our meeting today?
My husband,
And he'll be there today at 4 o'clock as well.
he will, yes.
Excellent. And I just got a couple more things. Haley, how
Yep.
much do you owe on the property currently?
200,000.
Excellent. And when we meet, what price are you thinking that you want to list the house for?
Ideally, I would like it for 650.
Okay, so you're looking at 650. And this is a hypothetical question, Haley, and I can assure you, if you and I end up working together, this is not going to happen. But I'm just wondering, from your perspective, what would happen if the house doesn't sell?
I mean, I would be pretty frustrated. I couldn't move to Washington, so
Mm,
probably have
yeah.
to delay some of my plans.
So what I hear you saying is like not selling is not an option. I mean, you're gonna go to Washington State, the sooner the better. So you just
Right.
obviously you want to sell the home for the highest price this market will give us. But bottom line, there's no plan B. I mean, you're gonna sell it, and
Yeah.
that's
I mean, I think plan B is just that I would have 2 mortgages until the other one sold. So,
yeah, that's not a good option. So I again, I am confident, Haley, that I am the right agent to get this property sold for you, and we're going to make this happen and get you close to your family. So my final question is, if at the end of our meeting today, Haley, you are confident that I can sell this property for you and working with me is the best decision you can make, will you be ready to go ahead and get started?
I would for sure.
Okay, excellent. I look forward to seeing you at 4 o'clock.
Awesome. That was great. Hopefully, I mean, we got a lot of comments in here about some of the things that we were talking about. So, let's see. So Neil asked, how do you handle expired who is withdrawn or who withdrew then expired months later?
The same exact way, same exact script. First of all, if it's a so withdrawn, if it's an unconditional withdrawn, you can call them when it's comes out the MLS, right?
Right.
Even though the expiration date may be in the future, just make sure you don't call conditional withdrawals because they're still listed with the agent. So it's withdrawn, but they still have a contract. So you shouldn't be calling those. But the script is exactly the same. I don't make up a story that, well, why did they withdraw? You don't know. The house is off the market. They were selling before. So just use the same exact script.
Right.
Yeah.
I agree. Juan asked, let me put this up here. He said, what if the seller asks you if you know the area where their house is? What would you say? So maybe you don't know the area very well.
I mean, do I know the area? If I'm calling in a certain, I'm assuming that I may not have sold houses there and I don't know a lot about it, but you should at least, and if you're brand new to real estate and you don't know areas, something in addition to getting on the phone and talking to people, which you need to start doing day one, whether you know what you're doing or not, you should also take a little bit of time every week and go preview some homes and drive around different areas, because you don't want to be like totally clueless.
Right.
Because knowing a little bit or where the subdivisions are and the location is going to give you more confidence in speaking with people. So do that immediately. But if, let's say, I've never sold a house in that area and I don't really know much detail about the area, and they ask me, how was it asked again, Haley? Have you?
What if the seller asks you if you know the area where their house is?
Okay. So I would say, Haley, yes, I definitely know your area. I know where your home is. And I specialize in getting properties sold and finding buyers for the properties that I list. And again, I'd like to sit down with you for just 20 minutes and show you how I can do that for you. Would 3 o'clock work for you today? Would probably be better. Look, the key to this particular objection handler here, you have to answer them truthfully and confidently, and then without hesitation move this conversation forward. Because if you get weird, right? If you're like, well, because I used to do that when I don't know what to say. Like, you're on the spot and they ask a question, and when you get weird, they get weird. Yeah. When you hesitate, they hesitate. The fact that they're giving you an objection means that they're opening to hear what you have to say, to see if you handle this in a way that makes them feel like, okay, I guess, I'm sure I'll meet with you. Right. But so an objection is it's an opportunity, because it is, because they're sitting on the other end of the phone waiting for you to respond. Now, if you hesitate or you get weird, they're mirroring you. They're like,
Right.
this is weird. Like the way you just answered that doesn't make me feel like you know what you're talking about. So I'm busy right now. Call me. They hang up. So being able to, I actually think that hesitation, because you don't know what to say, is one of the biggest reasons why agents don't set more appointments with expireds and FSBOs. Because they go, and
hesitation.
then it makes the seller hesitate. The seller's not looking for that. The seller's looking for a confident agent. And when you make weird pauses and you speak with upswings and you get all strange, I mean, yeah, it's bad.
Awesome. Well, we are way over time. I apologize, but we were getting a lot of questions and this was just such great content. I couldn't stop. So thank you so much, Jackie. If we didn't get to anyone's questions, or is there a way that they could reach out to you or find you?
I'm a coach. My training company is SalesX Training. So salesxtraining.com. If they Google my name, it'll come up, JackieKravitz.com. It takes all to the same place. So
awesome. Yeah. And you have more content where you do more role plays and live calls and everything on your YouTube channel.
Yes.
So
yes. Absolutely.
Yes. If anyone wants more of Jackie, for sure to check those out. We'll also have the FSBO podcast she did with us a year ago in the show notes after this. But thank you everybody for showing up. We had a lot of questions today, and so I really appreciate it. When you show up live, you get to ask questions live. So that's the benefit of coming at 1:30 p.m. Mountain Time. Yeah, and if you have more questions or you just want to talk about more things like this, like objection handlers and scripts, you can join our Facebook group. It's the REDX Prospecting Community. You can join over there, and we have conversations like this every day. But other than that, I think that's it. We will be here same time, same place next week. And I think that's it. Thanks, Jackie.
Thank you, Haley. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Have a great rest of the week.
Thank you.
Yes.